good. It's a triple-double for Bella Earl.
Goes matched up with a speedy guard. Great screen, spin move, layup, he missed it. Williamson fights for the board. His putback is good.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Straight Outta WAC After Hours here on this Thursday night. We just got done. Well, I just got done watching Tarleton State beat Rice 90-74 in Houston at Tudor Fieldhouse. George Johnson went up for 29 points. But, you know, it's just another night for the Texans right now. They can score, Daryl. I'm not going to lie. I told Kyle Cruz I hope he's tuning in. I decided to put on, this nice purple shirt for this episode of Straight Outta WAC After Hours. Texan fans, I mean, tell me it doesn't look good. It looks pretty good. I just figured, nice win like that. Why not? And, leave some comments on this because, I did this for you guys. So, yeah. Anyways, I want to talk about this again. Sorry. George Johnson goes for 29 points off the bench, Daryl. It took him 17 shots to hit that. He did make 11 free throws. Chris Mpaka, monster night, 22 points, 7 rebounds, 2 blocks. I think he had more blocks than that, but they just didn't want to credit him with it. And then Cam McDowell sliding. He goes for 19, and the Texans shoot 59, nearly 60% from the field. So good times. Jason, yes, I know you're watching. Says looks great. Yeah, don't get used to it. I'm gonna wear it occasionally. I got other teams that I got to wear too. CBU, Utah Valley. Got to get some stuff from like Southern Utah and Utah Tech. I don't know what the deal is there since I've been close with some of their peeps there. So we'll see. But Daryl just got done watching Utah Valley beat Weber State in an in-state game at the UCCU Center. I wasn't there tonight because I was at the UCCU Center last night when Utah Valley beat UC Irvine. And tomorrow and Saturday, I'm going to be in Ogden when the UT Arlington Mavericks take on Campbell tomorrow, and then host Weber State Saturday night. So we're going to have some content there. Me and Josh Showers going to go get some food. Good times. Good times. Sorry, Daryl. I've talked this whole NBA Plowboy, nice shirt. Yes, thank you. Appreciate it. Don't forget Kelly. Jason said Leroy Kelly had 16 points too. So there were 4 guys in double figures for the Texans tonight, or win 90-74. They used like an 18-0 run midway through the second half to kind of pull away. So really good ball game. If you've been following the Texans, they are now 4-1 against the spread. And they hit the over again. So that's something new that we haven't seen in a Billy Gillespie coach team, Daryl. I think that the over was 146, and they went over it by
more than enough.
What is that? 18 points. So yeah. So there have been a lot of overs for the Texans this year. Danny, my boy, says great hat. Yeah, Straight Outta WAC. It is. It's kind of cool. We call it Straight Outta WAC anyways. Danny's on my other podcast, No Sauce Podcast, with Kyle and John. He's one of my co-hosts. So that's another story in another day. But anyways, let's talk about the season so far. Jared Olson, CBU women's basketball head coach. I don't know if he's tuning in tonight. He picked up his 500th career win this week. Right?
300th at CBU.
300. Sorry, excuse me. 300 at CBU. Is it his 500th overall?
I think so. I just remember hearing 300. For Friday was win number 300.
Right. We're going to check that out while Daryl talks about what he saw tonight from the UVU women as he watched that game and paid attention. He did mention that Dan Nielsen, head coach of the Utah Valley Wolverines, wasn't very pleased with the officiating crew. I wasn't there, but I can only imagine. Yeah, good times.
Well, you got a technical it was like first quarter and half-ish. very physical, sloppy game. Your typical, Utah Valley, they like to muck it up and play defense, force 27 something Weber State turnovers. And without Amanda Barcelo, the offense struggled, but they put it together in the second half, just well enough to get to 5-1. Wolverines will visit Nevada on Tuesday before they hit the Thanksgiving break.
So yeah, going back to that Jared Olson stat, it is 300. If he heard me say it was his 500, how do you say that? 500th win? Is that how you
Career
say that?
win. Yeah.
500th career win, or career win number 500. Let's say it that way. That makes it sound better. He would probably want to punch me because he would probably take that as I'm saying he's old, and I think he's like a year or two younger than I am. So yeah, I don't know. Anyways, but I can only imagine how loud Dan was in the UCCU Center, considering it's enclosed, how enclosed it is, and there's not a lot of fans there. And I mean, yeah, last night when I was sitting courtside right by the UC Irvine bench, covering the game, Russell Turner, man, some of the things he said, geez, I can't repeat them on the Straight Out of WAC after hours. Holy cow. And it wasn't
I've covered UC Irvine a couple of times for other services, and Russ Turner's got to be one of the louder coaches in men's college basketball.
Yeah, and he was like the first 5 minutes when it was 10-0 Utah Valley. Oh my gosh. Like I said, I can't repeat some of the things that I heard last night. So but something that's cool, the WAC is 3-1 against the Big West right now. CBU, California Baptist, has 2 of those wins over UC Irvine, UC Riverside. Utah Valley has the other one, where they beat UC Irvine last night, and Utah Tech lost at Hawaii. Better game than some expected out there in the Hawaii Nines last week. So good showing there. But there's one conference that the WAC hasn't had much luck against this year so far, both on the men and the women. That's the Southland Conference. I mean, we saw that weekend where ECU lost, right? Who else lost? Yep. It was
UT Arlington on Sunday, and then
Lamar. Yep.
Carleton lost to McNeese.
Yep. Okay, and then the men.
Folks,
go ahead.
We're not happy with me by saying is like, if you can't beat McNeese, how do you expect to hang in with TCU?
Yeah.
And we saw tonight the Texans got blown out of the water in Dallas by TCU. I think that was fully expected, though.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you would hope that they would score more than 14 points in the second half, because it was actually a decent game at halftime. Like, it wasn't that 40 or 35 point difference, that it was at the end. So TCU made some adjustments. Tarleton, struggled with that press that they had in the second half, and yeah, that ended up ugly. A lot worse than I thought it was going to, based off the halftime score. But we talked about it. Women's basketball, that's how quickly things can change because of the halftime to quarters to, just the momentum. So yeah, pretty crazy. So but yeah, the men struggled too so far. Southern Utah got blasted at home by UTRGV. ACU went to SFA and couldn't hang around. And some say after the Wildcats only scored 49 points the other night at Texas State, that SFA kind of broke the Wildcats. I don't know, Daryl. Utah or Southern Utah scored 50 points in a 122-50 blowout loss to Gonzaga the other night. There's been some wild
Gonzaga and SFA are miles and miles apart on the spectrum.
Yeah. I mean, and then
what it is.
You just look at, but I mean, 72 points. That's something that's like for a non-D1 type of game, right? Like, that's just what it is. And it was never, I don't know. I couldn't turn it off though. Like, I wanted to see what was going to happen. I couldn't turn it off. So yeah, but there was some love from Mid-Major Madness towards CBU this week, which it's well deserved. They are 4-0, right? They have played all Division I opponents, and they had the road win at UC Irvine. Now, how good UC Irvine is, and I'll say this about Utah Valley too. How good is UC Irvine? Like, I know they're picked to win the Big West, right? But watching them last night, they didn't look like a team that was ready to win the Big West this year. Like, that's That's just my personal opinion. Still a good win for both Utah Valley and California Baptist, but I don't know how good the Anteaters are this year yet, right? I don't think they're that. What did they win? They won like 28 games last year.
Yeah, co-Big West regular season champions. I
Yeah,
want to
with
say.
UC San Diego, right? So I don't know. We'll see. Dom Daniels doing his thing again. I still think, as of right now, like right this night, that Dior Johnson is still leading the. And I know it'll come down to WAC play, but if I was to vote tonight, Dior Johnson, with what he's done for Tarleton State, I mean, he's shooting like almost 60% from the field and almost 67% from 3-point range. At least he was before tonight. But he goes for 29 points tonight. He had 42 at Baylor, where they, covered again, and he didn't play much against LSU. I still don't understand that decision. Maybe it was a discipline type, but this Tarleton team, if Billy Gillespie lets them play, they're gonna be at the top of the league. They can score with, and I'm not saying that because I'm wearing the shirt. I'm not saying that because there's probably more Tarleton fans watching this, but there's a different level that they're offensively, right? Like, but the question is, can they stop anybody? That's they're known for defense. So I don't know, Daryl.
And Kyle, one of the things you screenshot on the preview thing, you were asking about, is CBU for real? I think we're going to find out here in the next couple of weeks with the insanely difficult schedule Rick Croy put together for this Thanksgiving, end of November, beginning of December road trip they've got over the next, week and a half.
Yeah.
Colorado, BYU, Oregon State. Am I forgetting anyone?
So they got Grambling State tomorrow at home before they go back to Palm Springs, where they're going to play San Diego, right? Who they beat last year. And then they go to Oregon State after that, November 29th, so the Saturday after Thanksgiving. Then they go to Colorado 2 days later to Boulder to play the Buffaloes. Then they come 2 days after that, they come to Salt Lake City at the Delta Center to play, a top 10 team in BYU. And then they play Utah 3 days later. And then they have to finish that whole series up at Eastern Washington. So, they're playing, let's see, from tomorrow night, they're playing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games in a 2-week span. That's a lot.
Yeah.
And they're all away from the Fowler Event Center. That's a ton. And it's brutal. It's not easy. Not by any stretch of the imagination. I think Doc Wellman, one of their assistants, told me, he's like, I hate that stretch, but we had to do it, because we had to get games. Then they finish up with their holiday series at Fowler Event Center with Southern University, Sacramento State. And then they come on the road to open WAC play, where they start at Utah Valley on December 29th. Then they have to go and play UT Arlington on New Year's Day, and play Tarleton State 2 days later on January 3rd. So they're home for maybe a week over the next month.
Yep.
That's crazy. So yes, we are going to learn a lot about the Lancers over the next month, basically.
Well, I mean, and going back to the start of conference play, we got to give Drew Spiro a little bit of credit here for scheduling the two contenders to square off against each other on opening night.
I mean, yeah, but I don't really like that. It's December 29th. It's right before the new year. Nobody's going to be there because everybody's gone for all the Utah Valley students are gone. So it's not going to have that allure that maybe another scheduling a couple weeks later would have. So I don't know. I mean, it's cool. I'm looking forward to it and seeing how that goes. I'm really looking forward to seeing the Lancers in person, though, when they come out here to play BYU and Utah. See how they fare in that regard. So we'll see what goes down. I think they have a good team. They have some guys that have stepped up. Martell Williams is a great complementary player to Dom Daniels Jr. And then Jaden Jackson or Johnson? I can't remember his last name because they had a Jaden last year. Jaden Jackson, and a Northern Arizona transfer. He's been really good too. He has some freak athleticism that I really like. So, yeah, Daryl, we're going to learn more about the Lancers, but they've been really good in the first 2 weeks of the season. Should win tomorrow against Grambling. Can't let off the gas there, but should be 5-0 going into this big stretch of games. So, yeah.
And things have been pretty interesting on the women's side the last couple of weeks. I mean, minus the struggles against the Southland. I mean, Utah Tech with a nice win over Northern Arizona last weekend. And that's a Northern Arizona team led by former Molly Miller assistant Laura Dinkins. CBU obviously off to a good start at 5-0. Emma Johansson has to be one of the most improved post players in the country. And Kyle, if you remember when we talked to Jared Olson last summer, right after he plucked her out of the portal, he basically said that he thought that she was just scratching the surface of her potential, and I think we're seeing that right now.
Yeah, I mean, he did like the size, and I think she's one of the leading shot blockers in the country. Is that right?
Yeah, top 10 in shot. I mean, I believe the national leader actually once they updated stats.
When was the last time? When was the last time that he had kind of a dominant size advantage down there? I know that he had Kinsley Barrington a couple years ago, but she wasn't really that tall, lengthy, presence in the paint. She was good, but she wasn't tall and long, kind of like what Emma is.
Well, I mean, they were asking her to play down there out of necessity too.
Right. And then they had Kaylin Harper a few years ago.
Yeah.
So you mix in that with the guards, and if Felipa Barros can stay healthy with what she's done so far this year, like I don't even think they've played. Grace Schmidt hasn't even been.
No, Grace Schmidt has not entered a game this year.
Yeah. So like you get her back, watch out for the Lancers. Like it's
ACU nice win at North Texas. It wasn't the prettiest game for an Education Day Tuesday, but it's a win over a team from the American, and we'll take those wins any way we can get them.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Justin said howdy, Trey. I'll be covering your Mavs tomorrow and Saturday. So stay tuned on that. Alan, nice shirt. Kyle Huck says, shirt looks great on you. I don't know what Barstool Texans. I don't know what he's saying. Texan fried rice, but I get it. I now get it. I see where you went with that. I like it. Very well played. I should have realized that's a Barstool account, so I should have realized what they were saying there. I think Danny's referencing the Southern Utah Gonzaga game that it looks like Notre Dame and BYU. There's a funny story behind that. On this podcast that he and I and our buddy John are doing the other night, it was posted on YouTube last night or yesterday, and our buddy John said that because he's got a beef with Notre Dame being in the college football playoff rankings above BYU with the 2 losses, right? And I asked him straight up and said, if BYU and Notre Dame were to play today on a neutral field, who would win? And our buddy John, who's a BYU homer, said it would be a coin toss. So for all those that are listening right now, I'm going to throw that out to you. I know it's not basketball. If Notre Dame football were to play BYU football at a neutral field right now, who would win? Leave your comments in the comment section. I would love to hear them so that we can process this. Anyways, back to basketball. Yeah. So it's crazy. Utah Valley went to Fresno State Saturday and lost. They led the entire game. A couple days later, SFA, who's not in the WAC anymore, they went to Fresno State. Same Fresno State team, led the entire game before losing in the final minute, just like Utah Valley did.
That's a completely rebuilt Vance Wahlberg team. I think pretty much all of his guys either graduated or went to the portal.
Yeah, but like you got to win those games if you're Utah Valley or SFA. Like finish.
Oh
Ugh.
yeah, I mean those are the kinds of games. You know what frustrated me about the losses to the Southland teams over the weekend was those were all close games in the fourth quarter, games that you have to figure out how to win when we get to the months of January, February, and March, and the grind of WAC play. If you want to hoist a pennant in your gym come March,
Yeah.
and if there's anybody fan base that Tarleton State, just look at how close they've been. They legitimately should be about 4-5 right now. Or no, they haven't played 9, but they should have a couple more wins in the bucket right now.
Yeah.
That loss to Arky State in OT, missed a couple of free throws in the fourth quarter. The 29 turnovers didn't certainly help matters. And then who was it? They lost another one. Oh, and then the McNeese loss on Sunday.
Yeah.
Should have legitimately been a win.
I mean, like you said, there's wins that should have been had by some teams. I don't know what to make of the men yet. I think it's top heavy, but I think right now, if I was putting it out there right now, it's CBU, Tarleton, Utah Valley. Those are my 3, right? I think ACU. I think UT Arlington looked really good last night against Evansville on the road. Like they looked really good. I'm very excited to see them in person this weekend, to see how they fare, on the road, high altitude. Campbell is pretty good. Weber State, decent. So it's a good opportunity against some mid-majors. But like ACU and UT Arlington are right there in that mix. Utah Tech might be able to be in that mix too, because they played a pretty brutal schedule to start, right? Southern Utah,
Arizona State, Hawaii.
Yeah, Southern Utah's kind of a distant, back there. They're still trying to figure out. They did lose 2 guys that were going to be starters for them. One towards ACL, and the other one got a waiver denied. So that's huge. But like Utah Tech, they had to go to South Dakota, right? Came home for 1. Then they went to Arizona, played Arizona State and Arizona in a 4-day span. Then went to the Hawaiian Islands and won 2 out of 3 there, or 1. No, they went 1 and 2 there. They lost to Manhattan, beat Mississippi Valley State, and then lost to Hawaii. So they've had a pretty brutal stretch, but they've competed, right? They beat South Dakota to open the season.
Wasn't that an overtime game too, if I remember correctly?
Yeah. So they beat them. No, I think it was straight up, if I remember right. I think it was straight up. But maybe I'll have to go back and look at it. But either way, John Judkin's team has competed. They don't necessarily have the size. Ethan Potter's been good, but they still don't have depth in that paint area. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes. ACU, I don't think they've found their groove yet. They have so much experience, but they haven't. I don't know how to word it. From what I've seen, it's trying to still figure out roles on that team, and I don't think they're doing that. Like they haven't figured out who's going to be the guy. They haven't gotten an offensive groove. It just hasn't been. They won a close one against Omaha at home. Yeah, they just haven't found that offensive groove yet, and they need to, right? In Southern Utah, like I said, they're missing 2 guys that were going to be starters, but they got to figure it out. They got to figure it out quick because, they went to Washington State, competed a little bit, shot the ball better last night after the Gonzaga debacle. But when you're losing like that, it's kind of hard to pick yourself up, right? Like it's hard to continue to go on, and that's what they're going to have to do. But
that's part of why
right now.
That's part of why I question the wisdom of scheduling some of those games. Like, especially if you're a Southern Utah trying to kind of put things back together. I understand some of it is a guarantee game. The AD wants you to go play a guarantee game or 2 for, I don't know what they got for those guarantee games, probably $100,000 or so, I would guess. But so I understand some of it from that perspective. But as a scheduler, you have to know what kind of games your team is going to be able to compete in, and you want that mix, right? You want to see them challenged in the second half, and not getting blown out of the water, because when they get to WAC play, there's going to be a time where, you're going to have to put it together in the last 5 at that last, be under 4 timeout on the men's side. Or same thing on the women's side. Like, I'm not one to typically question buy games for our schools, but like, I don't know how much Tarleton State got paid for TCU tonight, but I'm not sure if it was worth another loss on the ledger for a team that has one of the highest totals of newcomers in the country.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. It's what do I want to say? It's one of those things where they need those games. Like, they need the money that comes from those buy games, right? Like, that's just the way it is. You have to have that money to either put in the pocket, to hold on, just to be able to buy games yourself, right? To buy home games, or to use it towards NIL. It's hard because they have to make those decisions, and it sucks. Like, it was stated today that coach from George Washington painted the picture that we all know is going on. The metrics are dictating
the schedule,
the scheduling, right? And so you have to play to that, right? There's nothing you can do. The majors, the power conference teams don't want to play, quad 2, quad 3 mid majors, and they'll never go to those gyms either, right? And so you're stuck. You're in a bad spot where you don't get the benefit, or you don't get the opportunities to, ramp up your metrics with a quad 1 win, right? Or a quad 2 win at your home gym. Like, you have to go on the road and win those games. It sucks. It's awful for the sport. And it's just like, you see all these teams playing non-D1s at home, and it sucks because everybody wants a home game. But, like, why can't we see more mid-majors playing more mid-majors? Because it doesn't benefit them in any way, right? Because it's not a quad 1 opportunity, and it's not a bad quad 4 opportunity. So it's like a lose-lose situation in that regard. And it's but
at some point as a scheduler, I think I would be of the ilk that says, be damned with the metrics. I'm going to get the best games possible to prepare my guys for conference play. And if that means playing a bunch of 2s and 3s versus a bunch of 1s where I'm going to get annihilated, then to hell with it.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what Tarleton State does. Billy doesn't care. Billy just goes and plays, right?
Sure, but he's playing a bunch of quad 1s and he's getting annihilated. He's not playing a bunch of 2s and 3s where they can win.
Well, I mean, still, like, they're still playing those games, and they competed against Baylor, right? They weren't ever in the game against LSU. I don't know why, again, he didn't play Dior Johnson. I'll never understand that one. And they opened up at SMU where it was semi-close for the majority, and SMU just kind of pulled away late. So there's opportunities there, and you never know how you're going to fare if you don't get those games, right? Like BYU had, or Utah Valley had games, 3 years running under Mark Madsen against BYU, and they won 2 of the 3 of those, right? So, like, there's opportunities, but they're not being had because these power conference teams don't want to schedule quad 2 or quad 3 mid-majors because there's a lose-lose situation for them, and they have nothing to gain by winning, right? Because it just pads their stats in the win column because they're expected to win.
No, it's slightly different on the women's side. You may see an LSU or an SEC type school go visit a Sun Belt type team, but that's just to get a road trip in, right? Just to go get a road game and prepare for, SEC play. It's not commonplace. Like Tennessee tonight was at Middle Tennessee. It's a road game. It's, Murfreesboro to Knoxville is not that bad a trip. And you're home tomorrow morning.
Yeah. Yeah, don't get me started on the whole. I could go on and on and on about the scheduling. I hate it. I hate it so much. It was like when Utah Valley opened the season against a non-D1 on Tuesday, the 4th, and the night before Utah State opened up with a non-D1. It's like, you guys really, and I don't know who's to blame, or I'm not going to place blame. I'm just saying, there's no way we could have played this game, Utah State versus Utah Valley, at all.
And that probably would have been a pretty dang good ball game.
It might have been. But, like, why couldn't that game have been played? Probably because Utah Valley wanted a home game. Utah State wanted a home game, and Utah State's not going to come to Orem. It's like you've beaten – I don't think Utah Valley's ever beaten Utah State. So why don't you play the game every year? Who cares? The metrics have ruined scheduling, period. That's it. The metrics have ruined it. So rant over there.
Kyle, anything surprise you out of the awards in the first couple of weeks in terms of newcomer and player of the week selections out of the office?
Nothing. Dom Daniels, I knew that was coming in the first week, and then Dior after his 42-point performance at Baylor, that was no surprise to me that he won player of the week and newcomer of the week honors there. So he might get newcomer of the week again after 29 points tonight.
Yeah, I should say so, especially at an American Conference team.
Yeah, so we'll see. Although, Isaac Davis looked pretty good last night for Utah Valley with 18 points. He might, he could be in that newcomer discussion, but yeah, I think the award this year, unless something changes where Dior's not the guy. Crazy too that he scored 29 points tonight off the bench.
What did you say? 11 of 17 from the field or something like that?
Yes, 11 of 17. So if we're looking at it, I'm going to pull up his stats real quick.
Holy efficiency!
Because when I checked it the other day, when we were talking about him, when I was talking to somebody about him, he was shooting like 70% from the field. So he hasn't started a game yet. He's averaging 23.6 points per game. He's shooting 56% from the field. He's shooting almost 65% from three-point range, but he's only taken 17 three-point attempts. He's 11 of 17 from three-point land. All of his buckets are coming either on field goals or he's gone to the free throw line 63 times. He's shooting 86% from the free throw line. That's pretty darn good. Dom Daniels, he's averaging, and I'll look at their stats real quick.
Well, Dom's doing what Dom is, we all expect him to do: get to the free throw line, create havoc by getting downhill.
Dom's averaging, he's probably second in the WAC at 21.5 points per game right now. Also averaging 3.5 rebounds. He's shooting 45%, but he's shooting 36% from three, and he's shot 5 more. Like he's taken 5 more threes than Dior Johnson. But they've only played 4 games too. So, it's interesting how that race is going to be fun if it's those two, because those two are lightning quick and good shooters, and one's obviously a starter. The other one's coming off the bench right now. It'll be interesting. I know it's early. I know it's only the second week of the season, and we still got a long way to go. But right now, I feel like it's a 2-man race between those two at the moment.
Yeah, and I think, player and newcomer on the women's side is going to be fun to sort out, especially that race for the newcomer. Kira Reynolds, a double-double in her first collegiate outing for UT Arlington in that opening night loss to Houston. Lauren Olson's been on fire since, the minute she put on a CBU jersey minus the UC Riverside game. She had her first collegiate start last night and had, I think it was like 15 or 17 points in that blowout over CSUN. Kaylee Borden for Utah Tech should be in the discussion, and so should Hedrick from Utah Valley. That's probably your 4 that are going to be in the neighborhood so far for newcomer of the year.
Guys, I'm sorry if there's a little noise coming out of my microphone. Unfortunately, I do this in my basement, and we don't have it walled in yet, so there's a little bit of noise. So I apologize for that. Please forgive me. We try to do our best here. I don't have the money to build a whole nice studio. If you want to donate to the WAC Hoops cause, hit me up. I'll give you my PayPal or Venmo or whatever, and you can donate to the cause if you really want to. But we do this for free from the
bottom of our hearts, for the love of the conference.
I am going to come out with a shirt, though. I was thinking about this today, and I'm going to come out with a shirt that I'm going to put out here in December. December 1st, it's going to go on sale. It's kind of a last dying wish for the WAC. Actually, it's not even a dying wish. It's just it's going to say rest in peace, WAC Hoops, right?
Yeah.
or hashtag rest in peace WAC Hoops, something like that. So I'll put it up, in one of these straight out of WAC after hours when I get it sold. Huck, I do have a link where you can get that hat. So I'll put that out there in the next couple of days. So I do have a link where you can get this hat. There is a couple other things you can buy too, but if you want. So, Daryl, what's your biggest takeaways from the women's side so far? We'll finish up with yours, and then I'll finish up with mine on the men's side.
I think number one has to be the clear emphasis on defense that Jared Olson has made in the offseason at CBU. They've held their first handful of opponents to under 60, and not very good field goal shooting numbers. I mean, and two of those were WNIT teams a year ago in UC Riverside and the University of the Pacific up in Stockton. The other one, just been really impressed with the newcomer class this year. Not just the freshman class, but the newcomer class as a whole. I mean, you look at Lauren Olson, like I said, a freshman coming in, newcomer of the week. Brooklyn Feely, the JC transfer from Southern Utah, who we got some pretty good notice about in the summer from, Spencer, and when I talked to Ava Urick, has been impressive. And then, Southern Utah, just their improvement offensively. Just they're playing at a tempo that you never saw the last couple of years with Sierra Chambers at the point guard spot.
Anything else, good sir?
I mean, I think those are my biggest two. ACU's doing what they're supposed to do, turning people over and winning with defense and a very potent, 3-point shooting attack. Utah Valley's finding ways to grind people out, and whether it's out shooting you or turning you over. I think it's going to be a very interesting regular season race when we get to December 29th. I think I said Warren Nolan predicts 13-5 to win the regular season.
Well, they had Utah Valley, Ken Palm had Utah Valley winning it, 14. What was it? 14 with a record of 14-4, right? So that's interesting. But Huck, I gotta put this back on the shop. I will put this hat because it's a flex fit one. I don't know why it's not on there anymore, but I'll put it back on there for you if you really want one. And I'll put that link out on the Twitter account. So my biggest takeaway from the men's side right now is CBU's looked really good to start, right? And 4-0, but they got a brutal road trip, brutal stretch of games like over the next month and a half into WAC play. I mean, they got to start WAC play at Utah Valley, at UT Arlington, and at Tarleton State. So we'll see what the Lancers, are made of over the next month and a half. It'll be interesting to see how they do and fare. Second off, I don't know what to make of Utah Valley yet. I was there at the UCCU Center last night, and they looked good. Size is going to be kind of an issue with the depth. After Isaac Davis, there's not a ton. Guard-wise, they're fine. Trevin Lenhart is really good. Jackson Holcomb's good. Isaac Davis, like I said, he looks good. But if he gets in foul trouble, they don't have a ton behind him to bring in to fill that. Hayden Welling, played well in the second half. So it'll be interesting. They need to get Tyler Hendricks more shots. He's probably their most athletic guy, and he's their best shooter. So they need to get more steps. ACU still has to find its groove offensively. Defensively, I think they're fine. They just have to find it offensively. I don't know if it's just there's a figuring out the role issue. I don't know right there, but somebody's got to step up. They got to fill that void left by Leo Bettiol, the 3-point shooting left by Hunter Jack Madden. So somebody's got to step up, right? Make some plays. Tarleton, I think right now, like I said, I think it's CBU, Tarleton, Utah Valley, UT Arlington. Those are my top 4 right now. Like if I was to do a power rankings right now, that's what it would be. I really watching this Tarleton team. This is like the second or third time I've got to see them because I watched them play. I didn't get to see the SMU game, or the LSU game. That's really weird. But man, these guys play hard. They shoot the ball. That's the big thing. They can shoot. And Cam McDowell had the JUCO transfer, JUCO All-American. He had a night tonight for himself as well, coming off the bench. So they can shoot the basketball. Tarleton State can. And it's one of those, if Billy just lets them go and play offense, and not hold them back, Tarleton State can be very dangerous. And I don't say that because there's a bunch of Tarleton fans on here. I say that because it's true, right? They're scoring almost 85 points a game. When have we ever seen a Tarleton State team score 85 points a game? So that's that. I think we're going to talk about all these games, right? We're going to do these straight out of WAC after hours. I'm going to try and make it consistent, right? On Thursday nights, because that's basically, at least for right now, till conference play starts. Then we'll figure it out a little bit more. But we're going to make it consistent. We're going to get back to it. Sorry, I took some time off. Daryl's been kicking butt with the coverage. But we're back. We're back here, right? And it's going to be a fun season. Talking with Todd Phillips last night, it's like we love these games. We love playing them, but like we still have to play everybody 3 times. So one game's not going to matter in the grand scheme of things. And all that matters is that 4th game that we play in Vegas, really, when it comes to this league and who goes to the NCAA tournament, which is the ultimate goal for everybody. So we got a long ways to go, Daryl, but we're started 2 weeks in. And I don't want to say teams are separating themselves yet because they're not. Like, there's too much basketball heading into December to,
not at all.
Stretches, and other teams got some cupcake stretches. So, yeah.
Right. I'm excited to, get going, the fun part about, high school football playoffs out here, it means it's that crossover period where, basketball's starting up and I'm watching games and waiting for my football assignment for the week. And we're at that point in the year now where it's like, okay, now it's time to focus on college basketball. And I'm excited to try and, make one last tour of the WAC and looking at a possible Utah to Cedar City and St. George that week that McNeese goes to Utah Tech and then New Mexico State visits Southern Utah. Looking at that, and then who knows, maybe a trip to the DFW Metroplex for my birthday weekend in February.
Nice. Yep, it's always a good trip. So everybody, thanks for tuning into this episode of the Straight Out of WAC After Hours, or I don't want to say this episode, this live stream of Straight Out of WAC After Hours. Now that we're back, we maybe rambled on a little bit. It is okay. We're getting started. We're back at it. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Like I said, some of you people mentioned the hat. I will put a link out tomorrow or the next day about the hat, so you can purchase that if you want. But we appreciate the support. We appreciate the love, the comments, everything tuning in tonight. And tomorrow's Friday. UT Arlington plays at 1. You know what? We'll be back on. I know we got Monday Night Football, so we'll be back on Tuesday. Tuesday night. Let's do Tuesdays and Thursdays for the next month, except for Thanksgiving. Next weekend is Thanksgiving, so we won't do Thanksgiving. So we'll do Tuesday night next week or this upcoming week. No Thursday because of Thanksgiving, and then in December it'll be Tuesday, Thursday, and then we'll figure out the schedule. So we'll see you on Tuesday on another Straight Out of WAC After Hours live stream. Again, we'll do them at 8:30 like we've been doing. Tonight we were a little bit later. I had to put the kid to bed. So thanks again, everybody, for tuning in. Daryl, thanks for being here. And we'll see you on the next Straight Out of WAC After Hours. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Tarleton fans, I don't know if you want to screenshot this because I don't know how many times I'll wear this again. So if you want to screenshot my shirt, go for it. Whatever. I gave you the shot. I told Kyle Cruz to tune in. I don't know if he did. He hasn't texted me back. They're on the road heading back to Stephenville. But everybody, have a good rest of your night.
Thanks for listening to the Straight Out of WAC podcast. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and other podcasting platforms. Be sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode. Remember to follow WAC Hoops Nation on all your favorite social media platforms.